Hey guys, what is going on? This is Cardinal5, and today we're going to continue the top 10 series for each position. We're going to be talking about second baseman. So I want to talk about a few things before I go ahead and get to the honorable mentions and then eventually the top 10. One, we are sticking to the primary positions for a reason. There are a lot of secondary positions in MLB The Show, and unfortunately I think it would just be too much if I had players at their secondary positions in these top 10 lists. So for that reason I am keeping it to the primary position only. Next, the secondary positions and the versatility of the card are a factor for my top 10 list personally. So for instance, on my top 10 honorable mentions, or for first baseman, I had Will Myers in there just because I like this versatility a lot. So yeah, that is a factor. So, and finally, I do want to bring the fact that these are how accessible and how relevant these cards are in Diamond Dynasty, not necessarily just based off pure attributes and overall alone, because you know, anybody can go out there and just go to the community market or go to Daddy Leagues and just sort by second baseman overall and do their own top 10. That's not the point of these lists. And then lastly, I should throw out there that this is my opinion, so I may have some biases, especially for players that I have used a lot. So let's go ahead and get started with the honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is going to be Matt Carpenter. And yes, of course I may be a little biased, but I feel like this card has not let me down all year. A big part of it is inside edge, and I will throw out there that I'm not basing these off inside edge, although it kind of is a factor, and it's not really fair because a lot of these cards tend to play up. But I'm trying not to base it off inside edge. Anyways, this card has not let me down all year. This card usually has 80-something power, but even without the power, and even playing online rated, I hit well this card. I like his stance. It's not a top 10 card by any means, but it is a really good budget second baseman to have. And sometimes it can be playing up, 90 plus power, but I shouldn't talk about inside edge too much. If inside edge was included, and I would probably put this card on the top 10, but unfortunately I'm going to leave my honorable mentions. I really like his stance, hit real well with him. He's got good discipline. Fielding gets the job done. Speed is so-so, but that's why I have my honorable mentions. And next, I have the flashback Brandon Phillips as an honorable mention. Now, this card is really weird. Some of you may look at the overall and be like, well, he should be in your top 10. And then some of you out there that break down the attributes a little bit more, look at the splits versus righties, and you're like, oh, that's just awful. There's no way I could use him. So I'm going back to my introduction of this video. How relevant can this card be in a mode like Diamond Dynasty? Obviously, you're going to have to platoon with this card, and I think this is one of the better platoon options in Diamond Dynasty for second baseman. So this is why I have him as an honorable mention at the very least. If you can find a good platoon option, this is definitely a really good card. I would not start him versus right-handed pitching, but that's why I gave him an honorable mention. I also like to bring out the fact that this card has really good fielding, really good reaction, really good speed. So it's just not the hitting alone that, at least gives him an honorable mention. Next, we have the live series Dee Gordon. Now, I personally do not like this card at all. So I'm trying to be fair and objective about this. But this card is very valuable. Let's not, forget the fact that this is probably the fastest second baseman out there besides maybe the rookie Jose Reyes. But yeah, I mean, he's got good speed, good bunting, good enough vision, and good contact. So if you like this type of card, plus he can play shortstop, definitely have to give him an honorable mention. Another honorable mention that, again, if we included inside edge, this card would probably be higher, but I'm trying not to base it off that. Guys, I'm trying to, look ahead to about a month from now when we're playing Diamond Dynasty, if some of you are. What cards are you going to use based off their base attributes, not just the inside edge? This card does play up a lot, and when it does, oh my goodness, it's probably a top 5 second baseman. Absolutely strokes. I mean, like right now, 99 contact, 84 power. But even without the inside edge, this card is insane hitting-wise. I think it might be the highest contact card second baseman out there, besides maybe Altuve or somebody, but this card just absolutely strokes. I like his stance. I hit really well with this flashback. The downside to a card like this is he does not have very good fielding, nor does he have good speed. He could also play first base and third base, but if you're playing this card, chances are you're playing this card at second base because there are not as many, other good hitting options. So this card is definitely one of the better hitting second basemen in the game. And finally, our last honorable mention. A lot of people probably are not even aware of this card or don't even really use it. That is the flashback Aaron Hill, in which you get from playing, I believe it's Conquest. But anyways, to me, this is a really good platoon card. This and the Brandon Phillips are really good options. This one, you're going to get a little bit more power. compared to the Brandon Phillips, but also he hits righties pretty decent. The Brandon Phillips doesn't hit righties that well. This one also has pretty good vision. Fielding is kind of so-so, you know, it's around what Matt Carpenter and Daniel Murphy can give you defensively. Same for speed-wise. This is definitely kind of like a, you know, to me, a kind of a better version than Brian Dozier, in which Brian Dozier did not make the list, but he was really close. But anyways, that's going to round out the honorable mentions. Next, we're going to get to number 10 on our top 10 list for second baseman. At number 10, we have the flashback prime version of Dustin Pedroia at 97 overall. If you look at this card, it has some pretty sexy attributes. For me personally, though, I will say a few things about it. Okay, the defense is good. Fine. Okay, that's great. I don't put a ton of value in defense at second base, so you're just fielding alone. But I will say this, you know, for having good fielding, most good fielding second base, not all of them, usually have good speed and stealing. He doesn't come with any good speed or stealing, so that's kind of one dimension of the game this card does not have. This is a good balanced card, don't get me wrong, but if I was to platoon, like I said, I would use that flashback Phillips or that flashback Aaron Hill. However, this is just a good balanced card if you're just looking for a starter or if you're a Pedroia fan. And overall, I had to put this card in the top 10. It's really solid. It kind of reminds me of the Altuve, except a little bit more power and a little bit less contact. Number 9 on our list, we have the flashback Ben Zobrist. Now, guys, come on. This card has my name by it. It has to be, you know, top 10, of course. You know, I'm just kidding. No, but really, I really do like this card. I used it for most of the year, and I'll give you a few reasons why. Again, I use this card mainly to platoon at the end of the year. It's a great platoon card. Also, though, it plays just about any position. It can be your backup shortstop. It can play anywhere in the outfield if you need to on a double switch. It has good fielding, above average speed and stealing. But I just really like, you know, the versatility of this card and the fact if you do put him in a double switch, hey, he might not have amazing attributes versus righties, but he is a switch hitter. And, you know, I've hit my fair share of bombs on the right side, or on the left side against righties. So the versatility of this card alone, you know, I have to put it in the top 10. I really like this card. A lot of you guys probably just look at the attributes alone. That's why attributes aren't necessarily everything. You have to look at the whole picture, guys. In my opinion, this is a top 10 second baseman in the game. Number 8 on our list, we have the 99 Jackie Robinson. Now, of course, you get this by completing every collection in the game, all the divisions, and then both leagues. You finally unlock the Jackie Robinson. Now, it is a 99 overall, so technically, shouldn't this be the best second baseman? In my opinion, no. That's why, again, attributes are not necessarily everything. For one, if I want to platoon this card only against lefties, okay, it's pretty solid, but we also have better options. Like I said, the Brandon Phillips, the Ben Zobrist, the Aaron Hill, in my opinion, are better options to platoon with because I put a little more emphasis on power. Don't get me wrong, though, this card is really, really good. It has really good speed, pretty good stealing, really good vision. Of course, 99 vision, that's amazing, so it's going to allow you to power swing a little bit. And of course, it can hit from both sides. I mean, it can hit against, you know, righties and lefties, so it's not just a card you can't platoon with. However, to me, like I said, if I was to platoon with this card, I think there's better options. And if I was to just play one second baseman straight up, I would rather go with, of course, the next 7 cards we're going to go after this. I would rather play those cards because I believe they're a little bit more balanced. I will say this, though, the card does offer a little bit of flexibility. You can play first, third, left field, although I really, the fact you can't play shortstop is a little bit disappointing. So, anyways, this is still a really good card nonetheless. Number 7 on our list is the flashback Ian Kinsler. To me, this card, again, I like it a little bit more than the Jackie Robinson just because it has a little bit more power. The vision's good, and I really like the swing. Plus, he has 80 speed and 99 stealing, which is also really good. The one downside of this card is the fielding is absolutely just awful. I don't know why they made it so bad. It's not awful, but 64 is pretty average. You know, that's like Daniel Murphy or someone like that. And he should definitely be better than that. But I do like this card, and it's obtainable in Conquest. Again, from the right side you get a little bit more contact, and from the left side you get a little bit more power. So I like this card as a starting second baseman, not a card to platoon with, and that's one reason I do have him in my top 10 at number 7. Number 6 on our list, we have Live Series Robinson Cano. With Inside Edge or without Inside Edge, this card absolutely strokes righties. And of course, you know, you're going to be mainly facing righties. Bats from the left side, you see the ball a little bit better. Has pretty good fielding for a second baseman, nothing great. They did downgrade his fielding finally at the beginning of the year. The one downside is his speed, and it's a card you probably have to platoon with. Although with Inside Edge +9, you don't have to platoon with him, but I would. But I have to put Robinson Cano, the Live Series at the least, in the top 10. I personally usually hit pretty well with this card, and I pretty much just like this card because it hits. right-handed pitching very well. Number 5 on our list, I have the flashback Daniel Murphy. The reason I give the flashback Daniel Murphy just a nod above the live series Cano is, again, we can't always rely on inside edge. And again, a month from now, we're not going to have inside edge, so this is a card I would use over the Robinson Cano. 87-84 is really good against righties. He's still pretty good against lefties, but this is a card I'd still probably platoon with if you have the luxury to do so. What I was doing at the beginning of the year, most of the year, is I would play either Daniel Murphy or Matt Carpenter at second, and I would also platoon Zobrist, so I'd always have Zobrist on my bench. For me personally, I hit really well with these cards, so I have no reason for them not to be in my top 10. Everything about this card hitting-wise is phenomenal, and some of you guys may even like the live series Daniel Murphy with inside edge, which I can totally understand. But again, I'm trying not to rely solely on inside edge. And number 4 on our list, live series Jose Altuve. You got to put him up there. I mean, his fielding really good, reaction good, speed, stealing, it's all there, contact good. You know, I'm not a huge fan of this card personally because of his power. He does have a little bit of power versus lefties. Against righties, yeah, occasionally you can hit a home run. But I mean, this is still a really good card. For me personally, it's not a really, really favorite. Some of you guys may put this card even number 1 or number 2. I put him at number 4. I wouldn't say more out of, just for respect, but for the fact he offers a lot of other things such as speed, and stealing, and fielding, and just his swing, and the ability to just, spray the ball all over the place, and get on base, steal it back, whatnot. The previous cards, I kind of base it more off hitting. But to me, if you're looking for a complete second baseman and you want to rely a little bit more on traditional tools that second baseman usually offer, speed, stealing, fielding, this is a card you definitely want to check out. Plus, you can, once you get it, you pretty much got the Astros collection done. But anyways, I rank him number 4. And number 3 on our list, we're going to have the 99 Joe Morgan. And again, let me explain why. So compared to a card like the Jackie Robinson, I would totally argue, or no, I would totally admit that the Jackie Robinson is a more balanced card, and if you're only put one second baseman on your roster, go with Jackie Robinson. But again, this is about relevancy and how applicable this is to your team in Diamond Dynasty. And most of us have the luxury to platoon. So you would want to use Joe Morgan against mainly right-handed pitchers. He's 80-82, which, it's pretty close to like the flashback Murphy. He does have a little bit of an awkward stance, but he also has really, really good vision, more so than the Murphy, so it's going to give you the ability to power swing, plus the fact he has really good fielding. Similar to cards like the flashback Phillips. Good reaction, good speed, and good stealing. Of course, the one downside is you're going to have to platoon with this card. So, if you can go get yourself an Aaron Hill, flashback Aaron Hill, flashback Phillips, I mean, this is a really good combination to use. And just, again, based off the total package that Joe Morgan offers, I have to put him personally at number 3. And at number 2, this was really difficult, guys, but I went ahead and went with a flashback Gully, although I think his rating should be higher. He's pretty much, again, pretty similar to the flashback Daniel Murphy attribute-wise, except you're going to get a lot better fielding out of this card. He does also have pretty good stealing, although I still wouldn't steal it because it didn't upgrade speed. But to me, this is kind of just an upgraded version of the flashback Murphy. I like Chase Utley's swing and stance. He can also play first base if that means anything. But I ranked him number 2. So let's go ahead and get to my number 1 second baseman. And my number 1 second baseman is going to be the flashback Robinson Cano. I'm a big fan of the live series. I like Robinson Cano's stance. I like his swing. He absolutely destroys right-handed pitching. Now, you could argue again that the live series might be a little bit better and it's not worth going out to get this card, but again, you can't rely solely on inside edge. In a month from now, you won't have the inside edge. So, I think Robinson Cano is just a complete package. I will say that the one downside is he doesn't have speed compared to some other second basemen, but again, not every second baseman can have it all. And for me personally, if I was to choose one second baseman to have on my squad, it is Robinson Cano. Crushes righties. You definitely probably want to platoon with him, although you wouldn't have to. Really good defensively, and there's really nothing else you can ask for. Good plate vision. But me personally, guys, this is a personal opinion. I love Cano in the game, and I would rank him number 1. This is a really tough list because honestly, like 1 through 4, you could put these guys in any order. You could even put Jackie Robinson higher and whatnot. This is a really tough list to do, just because there's no second baseman out there that has everything. you have to sacrifice, you know, something for something else. And I usually put a little bit more emphasis on facing righties and a little bit more power. So I hope you guys enjoy this top 10 list. Let me know if you disagree and why. Again, guys, all I ask is for you guys to be respectful. Arguments and whatnot are fine. And if you guys want to know about a player, why I didn't put him in there, or why I put him where he is, just feel free to ask. I will tell you. But anyways, thanks for watching the video, guys. This is Cano 5 signing out. Peace.